There we go. I think you should be able to hear me now. Yo, what's up? Okay, so I think there we fixed that. I'm in a different location. We got a different setup going on here today. We have, as I was saying, we're here on Easter holiday break here, and although it looks like we are in the same office, it's just AI. It's just. I know you didn't really didn't know it, that this isn't really my office. So we are now in Oregon visiting family, and I was sharing that it is. I think it had this actual image of me after the Easter meal, so that is actual literal footage of me after eating so much the other day. Hope you guys had a good Easter. Okay, we got this popping up nice. Okay, all sorts of. Oh, did I not show that to you? God, I am just all over the place here. I am so sorry here. There we go. There's the actual footage. Okay, we're starting over. Here we go. Welcome, guys, to Get Going Fast. Photo of me eating Easter. Okay. Hope you guys are doing good. It was a huge week last week. Okay, so we had a lot of stuff going on. We've got a lot of stuff happening this week, so I'm excited for that. Honestly, there's so much going on. I feel a little bit overwhelmed, and that's how it is with this AI stuff. It's like you take one day. I mean, you can take a day off. If you take a week off, I mean, you're toast. But you take just a couple of days off, and stuff comes out. And then once it comes out, within another day, iterations of it have come out. Models have been quanted, all sorts of stuff. So that's kind of how I'm feeling. Like, we got so much stuff going through. We've had our High Dream came out, then we had our Flux come out, and then FramePack came out. And honestly, FramePack is going to be the thing that that really, I think it just dominates the news. I think that's the big technology for the. I think that's the big technology for the month, for the week, for the whatever. It's the new thing. So we're gonna talk a little about that. We're gonna go through what we looked at last week. A lot of AI news stuff going on with social media. Well, not the social media, but with the tech companies, the tech bros, and so I guess let's pop into it. Okay, so imagine now the screen going last week kind of thing. So okay, let's go over to the browser, and we're just going to kind of go through the Get Going Fast timeline here. And this obviously is where we started last week. We were doing the High Dream Comfy UI nodes. So yeah, you can see that. So I don't know if you guys did this. I didn't receive anything in the mail, so I just assume you guys are working on this on your own. Pretty much High Dream is being touted as the possible flux killer, but it's not going to be the flux killer. But I think the thing about it that's going to be so good is that it's easily trained. So, that's kind of where it seems to be going with the image generation is, how do I get consistent images, consistent photos of the stuff that I want? Of the stuff that of the person that I need. It's great to grab random people, but at the end of the day, if I'm running an advertising business, or I'm running some sort of social media account, and I have my own digital influencer, I need to be able to generate that images of that digital influencer or whatever all over the place. That's where, of course, LoRa's have come in, and we have we've played with different LoRa creating software. But so I guess like High Dream is going to be kind of like, it's easier to train stuff on there. Puppetolino says, "Hi GJ, happy Easter from Italy." Nice, good. Thank you so much. Happy Easter to you as well. I wish I knew some Italian. We've also got Texas Mofo is here, so what's up? And then of course we have Layer Nige over here. So he's a very faithful friend of ours, always around. So good to see you guys. So anyway, so that was our thing last week, was the flagship, the High Dream. Let's see, we got that stupid image again. This was done in High Dream. I created the front page for the video with High Dream. Let's see if I can. I don't have a great image of it, but here, this whole image here was done in Hydrogen. It didn't take very long. So, and it's going to be, it's going to get faster and faster as things go. Right now, it still takes a little bit of time, not a lot. It was a difficult installation because it was so brand new. Everyone's trying to get it to work. And essentially what we had to do was take two different repositories and blend them together, because you did the one for there was one for a Gradio app, and I never could get the Gradio app to work with that. But it installed so that never worked. And then we got the Comfy UI, and I was installing that, and it couldn't get to work. And then by installing the Gradio app and then using the Comfy UI, all of a sudden she worked. So there was components in each that worked together. So we blended that together. That's how that installer works. Guaranteed that HiDream is going to be coming out with easier ways to get that going. People are going to fix that up here within the week. Although it is getting kind of, eclipsed by FramePack, which we're going to talk about here. I do want to pull something up here that I remember that we looked at. I just got an email today. I was looking for that email from Comfy UI. Comfy UI updates a lot of their stuff to run native, and they just made WAN 2.1 run native. So I turned off the browser because I didn't want you seeing into my emails. But okay, I'll have to find that later, and we'll look at that. But anyway, so a lot of this stuff, HiDream, I'm sure FramePack, all this stuff is going to get pushed into. Oh shit! I didn't want you to be there, and then I took you there anyways. Okay, we'll get pushed into Comfy UI. So let's go on from there. That was the flagship last week. There, of course, is our Comfy UI installer. This is the NF4 installers. Now, NF4, I wanted to talk more about what NF4s are, and I it's funny, with the video I prepared to talk more about it, and then I didn't. So basically, you can think of an NF4. You know how we talk about quants, and say like you got a number with a bunch of decimal points, and all we do is we just cut off some decimals, right? And it makes the number smaller. So NF4 is similar, but in a smarter way. And what it does is it recognizes in which portions of that decimal point are the most important, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't necessarily cut them out, but what it does is it shrinks them by a particular ratio. So it says, instead of actually slicing, like, a quant just slices and gone. So what this does is it takes numbers and it literally makes them smaller by a proportion. And then it stores in the, in its model and its whatever, somewhere in a place that it can access the data, it stores that proportion. So then it can inflate it again. So it's like having a shrink rate. So I'm a UPS guy, and I've got this giant package and I can't carry it. So I shoot it with the shrink ray, it shrinks down, and then I carry it to the house, and then I hit it with the shrink ray, reverse it, and it pops back up. So that's actually what NF4s are doing. And so it's really cool technology, and unfortunately it's one of those things that you don't get the absolute perfect coming back out of that, but still get quite a it's an improvement on quants. It's incredible. It's amazing what it does. Yeah, kind of like a zip file, right? A zip file does the 9-layer over here is saying that this is sort of like a zip file. It's like, right, in a zip file they do the same thing. They use a certain key in a way to, I think they remove zeros from zip files, or stuff like that, and then they're able to add them back in later according to their algorithm that they've stored. So that's how NF4s work. If you're ever wondering the difference between a Q4 to Q5 and NF4, a lot of these Comfy UI installations, they have a little button that you can be pressing, and it can do it on the fly kind of thing. So, all right, so HiDream, that was last week. Very cool stuff. And then, of course, I've got the quick installer there if you just want to get that going into your Comfy UI. Okay, so we worked with the Uno Flux, which is really cool. Now, again, this is a neat program, but it's a fun. But it's not. I don't want to call it practical. I don't think it's a practical application. I think you can make stuff about 512. It's good for social media. I think it's good for your Instagram, your Facebook. you can do stuff, but it's you can't make high definition images with this, and I certainly don't think there's a consistency to it, but it's a cool program. Now, OmniZero, we talked about, excuse me, we talked about OmniZero a little bit in this video. I wish I could remember the guy's name. Real nice guy. Interacted with him just a couple times. But he seemed friendly. And he had created this over a year ago, but it was extremely high resource. Like you had to basically have 24 gigabytes of VRAM to run it. So they of course made this down. You could run this with your 16 gigabytes of VRAM. It is resource intensive. But it's still cool. So, we did that. I took a picture of my puppy and we put it in a snow globe. That's the kind of big thing everyone's doing. There, took a hat from this other project I'm working on, and then took that. I think I took this gal over here. That's a combination of that gal and a hat. And so, that's kind of cool. I mean, that's the kind of thing you could, if you fixed up her eye, you could use that on a social media sort of thing. Let's see what else we got. There you go. There she is. Again, that's that gal plus the snow globe. So, this is cool. I like UnoFlux, and I think this actually. Let's go back. I think this one actually has a Gradio app for it. No, this one we actually just walked through how to build it. So we didn't even do an app with this one because it's pretty simple. It's just downloading a model, getting it into your workflow, and then adding the nodes. So cool app to play with. Certainly worth your time. All right, so let's go. Okay, we got news here. Meta under legal fire for potential monopoly practices. So I just thought there's going to be a couple of these that we're going to see, which showing me kind of a trend, an attack on the technical institutions. So trial could potentially force Meta to divest its prized acquisitions, Instagram and WhatsApp. So of course these companies are getting so big, and they have the, they invent the technology and then they buy it from each other, and they, of course they just get into these massive conglomerations. So this is all under the thumb of the FTC. Allegation that Meta's acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp in 2014 were illegal killer acquisitions, which they were. I mean, whether or not they were illegal, it's beyond my scope, but they're definitely killer acquisitions. Designed to eliminate potential competitors before they could challenge Facebook's dominance. So again, if you're not from America or you're from a country that doesn't necessarily is as hard on monopoly laws, and they are out there. Listen, I've lived in countries where there is no monopoly laws, and one company rules everything. So obviously, USA has strong laws that you have to have competition, which is kind of funny in my mind because it kind of just comes down to just like, okay, you can't just have Coke, so we'll just have Coke and Pepsi. So it's kind of like a monopoly, but a monopoly of two instead of one. But at any rate, so they're going after Facebook to break that up, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. These tech companies have had an incredible amount of influence, and whatever. All right, so we threw out this understanding LLMs better. I did not write this. This is someone else wrote this, but I thought this was kind of a cool little thing. Just if you want to browse through this, if you really want to be an Uber LLM user, what you do is you grab it and just copy and paste it into ChatGPT. You take a book about LLMs and throw it into an LLM, and you ask the LLM to summarize it for you. But yeah, that's kind of, it's like feeding a chicken or something like that. This is something you're not supposed to do. I don't know. At any rate, this is a cool little book. So you can go through that, and it helps to understand things. There's your quantization, your fine tuning, all this good stuff. A lot of times it's just understanding the vocabulary. So that kind of thing helps. There's our live Q&A. Actually went pretty good. I was pleased with that. Okay, this is cool. Exciting future of open source robotics. So this kind of, I was talking with one of my family members about that yesterday. I'm a little bit embarrassed, but about it because I was a little bit open about what I think the future holds, and the future is not always glorious or admirable. But we'll get into that here in a second. This is the so Hugging Face, of course, is the site where we get most of our repos. from where we download our models. I was, where does it? I think it mentions down here. Thomas Wolfe, co-founder. Blah 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 blah. I think it's. Can't remember where he worked for. He was a Google. He might have been a Tesla worker or something like that. Obviously, smart fellow. And they started Hugging Face, and Hugging Face, of course, is the place where every time we download a model, we're downloading it from Hugging Face. So they're getting into robotics, and they're open sourcing it. Is the bottom line. So that's obviously the next step. Is we're building the minds and learning how to interact with LLMs, but now we're still just doing it on a screen. We're still just doing it here. So, of course, we're going to be putting it into robots soon, and they've are starting to open source the how to build it. So that's really cool. So you could be getting your 3D printer and 3D printing robot bodies, and then of course the technology of how it works. So that's huge because it puts it into the hands of smart people like you guys. I'm the dummy, like I read this stuff, just kind of share it with you, but like you guys are the smart ones out there, and so you're going to be able to take it just kind of like we do with the software and actually build stuff on it. We got a new guy, Roland G. Hello, fast. Just stopped by. See you're streaming currently. Yep. Good to see you, Roland. Welcome. You are always welcome here. Excited to have you. We'll all give you a little clap. Everyone clap for Roland. Yo. So anyway, so robots are coming. We're gonna. I think that in 10 years, I think maybe less. I feel like. Oh, thanks, Roland. Join the Discord. Good. It's good to see you over there. Come share your stuff. I think that within 10 years, and I think I might be being generous with the amount of time, but that we'll be interacting fully with robots. And this is where I kind of embarrass myself. The internet and people are such perverts. I think one of the first things they'll do is they'll be making sex bots, and people are already using LLMs to fantasize and role play. And I think the next step is everyone is gonna have sex bots. It's just but you're gonna have maids, and you're gonna have things to walk the dog and do all this stuff. So you'll still have your little robot vacuum, but you'll actually talk to it, and which is cool. There was that application. What was it called? It was the NVIDIA one. It was a world builder software. Let me see if I can find that. This is where this is going to tie in. Was it, what was that called? Cosmos. Yeah, it was this Cosmos thing. This is where this is going to tie in to the robots. So if you guys remember this software, you can create interactive worlds. And it was cool because everyone's like, wow, the quality is great. You can do stuff. But I really feel like the majority of people missed the purpose of Cosmos, which NVIDIA stated, but it's like you miss it because you're just like, well, how can I generate boobs? I mean, that's honestly like 70% of the stuff I get. People are gonna do not safe for work. But what this does is it creates worlds on which to train robots, to train LLMs. So, like, let's say again here, you're in a factory and you want to have, that robot taking stuff off the shelves. And so what you do is normally you would have to pay someone to go out there with a camera and videotape a whole bunch of situations in a factory, and then you get that, and the robot learns off of it. So with Cosmos, what they're doing with is you can actually create synthetic data. So you create what a factory looks like, and you create what boxes look like. You create what an accident looks like. Here the snow road there. That would be like for training a car. You show like this is what it looks like when an animal's on the side of the road. This is what it looks like when a tree falls. This is what it looks like in snowy conditions. Things that it can. So instead of having to go out and create visual, to capture physically, use Cosmos. So this is going to really feed in to what we're talking about over here with the open source robotics. So this is really the next step. I would imagine that Get Going Fast will be within a year or two teaching you guys how to train robots, because I really think that's where they're going. Windows is pushing out the Windows 10, like not pushing out, like here it is, like throwing out, like knocking off the bridge. Um, Windows 10, they're done with it, and one of the reasons I think is because they want everyone to buy new computers. And I've been saying this for the past year. I think there's going to be a push coming where everybody, your aunt, your uncle, everyone is going to get a new computer because they need you to buy their AI software. They want you to buy their AI software. They're going to need you to be training robots. I think that we'll all be training our own robots, just as a natural thing. You'll have like some thing on your computer, mom and dad, just like they've got Comcast. They'll have something and they'll be doing some easily way of training, but you have to have the software to be able to run it. So I think that's where we're going. I think that will be the next big thing, and I'm kind of excited. You know, honestly, if I could get a robot that I love LLMs, and I talk to ChatGPT like a person. Now, I obviously don't think ChatGPT is a person, but I have times where I talk to ChatGPT like a person, and the insightfulness is just amazing. Like, I really feel ChatGPT understands the human condition. Like, it is just, and probably because it's been trained on the human condition, right? I would play with a robot. If I had a robot here and it looked like a person, you know, I would be, obviously you have to understand that you're like you're playing, you're just throwing a ball against a wall. You're not with a real person. But listen, I was a kid. I used to sit there and I'd sit outside by the garage and I'd hit a basketball on the roof and I'd come down and I'd pop up and I'd jump up and pop the ball back on the roof, and I'd do that for an hour, you know. I think that robots are going to be like that, you know. So kind of a cool future. Okay, Roland says he wanted to hear my songs. Where do I post it? On your Discord. So Roland, just head over to the Discord, actually not quite sure where. We've got different channels over here, so I think should be one called music or audio generation or something like that. You can find a channel, put it there, and we'll play your music. And if you want, I could probably even show it in a video. So, all right. So anyway, so moving on. Here we get back to the lawsuits. Facebook first, now Google. Could the tech industry be about to undergo a massive transformation? So Google, so we had Facebook breaking the law by monopolizing. Now we have Google breaking the law by monopolizing the markets. Okay, and they're saying it has to do with their ads, which of course Google, as far as every ad in the whole world is a Google ad. So they've made incredible amounts of money. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if you guys are old enough, you remember the phone companies. I think it was all Ma Bell or something like that, and they busted it up. And there was a bunch of phone companies. We'll see what happens with the tech bros. I think it's broken up into a bunch of different pieces. But we got Facebook, we got Google on the chopping block. Here, okay, we had our Understanding Easter. I wrote that in 2020. It was my parents' farm. That was right during the coronavirus. Everyone, God, I don't even want to talk about that. So anyway, that was back then, 5 years ago. So hope you had a good Easter. Okay, so here was the Flux Gradio app. Okay, this is what I was thinking about. So this actually did come out. I was able to get this running. So you can run this in Comfy UI. The workflow we looked at was you can go into Comfy UI and just download the nodes and you can create it yourself. But here's a nice little quick app that you can run, and it runs really great. Again, this app is, you might as well just grab the Gradio app because I don't know. I like it. It's fun. It's kind of like Magic Quill to me. It's just like, it's something I like to. Magic Quill is actually more practical for me than this. But you know, maybe just get the app and then you have it. You can play with it. You can show mom and dad fun stuff with it, or just goof around. It's a fun app to play with. Okay, what do we got here? Yeah, that was just another video on that. Okay, now we get to the big boy here, which is the FramePack. Just really amazing. And so we're gonna probably this week. I'm gonna spend quite a bit of time talking about what FramePack is and getting out installers, better installers for you. Right now, it's very, what's the word? The accelerators. it runs fast. The accelerators will make it run faster, but the accelerators can be difficult to get working perfectly on your machine. I'm looking for a folder here. That's why I'm looking off screen. I want to show you some stuff I did here. I'm on a different monitor, so when you're using Windows, you're on a big monitor. You can have all of your icons like this, and you move to a smaller monitor, and it spreads your stuff all over the place. Boy, my phone is blowing up over here. Okay, so anyway, we're going to talk about what FramePack does and why it is such a big deal. Here in the I always like to do my Ninja Turtles getting kissed videos. If you remember, I did one with WAN 2.1, and I was comparing that and the what was it? The Hunyuan image to video. WAN 2.1 actually still wins the image to video awards, but I'm going to tell you why that FramePack is so good. Okay, so the big stuff about FramePack is that they have the guy Elias Veal has basically taken video generation and he's made it accessible to everybody. So you guys all have probably been there, or you know how it is, where you're like, can I do this? Is this something that is this something that will work on my machine? And I'm always having to tell people, I'm sorry, it's not going to be. Like with your 8 gigabyte VRAM, you're not going to be able to do video generation. It's just something you can't do. You could get into image generation, but video generation is not. However, now, you can. And the reason is because Elias Veal has created this app called FramePack. Now, FramePack, what it does is it there's a term for it, but it's a I think it says it's non-variant sequence generation or something like that. Basically, what it means is he has optimized this to say like a 3 or 4 second video, right? So he says, okay, I'm going to optimize making 4-second videos so that everyone can do it. Then what I'm going to do is when people want to go up to 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, instead of having to scale, which they're never going to be able to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to force everything. I'm going to force everything to run within the same constraint. So this is a box that I can make work consistent and I can make work well. And regardless of what you want to do, I'm going to make it work in here. So what it does is it says, okay, in short, what it does is it says, this is the quality at 4 seconds, okay? And you can go out to 10 seconds. It's going to take just as long, but what we're going to do is we're going to degrade the quality. So the longer the video, the lesser the quality. But we're going to still do it all within the same box. So I'm trying to think of how to explain it. Like if it takes 4 steps, so I guess that's 5. If it takes 5 steps to get through this, right? I could do 5 steps per, 5 things per step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, what if I want to do if I want to do 10 steps? Well, we're going to keep it within 5, but now we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? So we're keeping the constraints the exact same, but what we're doing is we're doing more within the side of these things. So we're degrading the image, essentially, is what it's doing, so that it fits. It still takes the same amount of time. So it's going to take you 60 seconds to 2 minutes to make a video that's 4 seconds. It's going to take you 60 seconds to 2 minutes to make a video that's 10 seconds. So that's really incredible. I mean, if you want to make a 30-second video, then you would have 5 things per step, 5, 10, 15, 20, well, I guess 6, right? So just incredible. It's incredible technology. All right. And it's easy to do, and you can do this down. He claims you can do this down to 6 gigabytes of VRAM. So maybe at 6 gigabytes, it's going to take you several more minutes than it would on a 4090 or a 3090, but you still are going to be able to do it. Okay. Focus, if you remember, was kind of similar to this. It was just it's image generation for the masses. I've taken old computers that don't even have GPUs, and I've thrown focus into it, and you guys might have to wait 5 minutes, but you get an image out of it. I feel this is the same way. Elias Veal is amazing. Like, the stuff he does is incredible. He's created SD Forge, he's created Focus, he's created this now. I think this is the groundbreaker, and this is actually going to overshadow High Dream. This is going to overshadow Uno Flux, which again are both good apps, but they're nothing groundbreaking. Maybe when High Dream comes out and they make it easy to install, or it gets whatever, this is going to get put into Comfy UI guaranteed. This is the big boy. I mean, this is like you get a bunch of basketball players out there, and then all of a sudden, you know, Jordan shows up, and you're just like, oh, well, forget these other guys. We're watching Jordan here. So this has overshadowed the week. Okay, so Roland says, I want to make music videos for my song. Would love to learn how. Okay, yep. Well, we can. That'll be a good Wednesday, I think, thing to talk about. Come around on the Q&A on Wednesday. We will get into that. I would absolutely love to talk with you about how to make videos. I think, you know, FramePack is another great way. Start making videos with that. Look on the Get Going Fast page and find video generation stuff. So anyway, all right. So FramePack is der bomb. So there is an installer on Get Going Fast that you can use. You can also just go download it and get it going. I don't think that the straight download is optimized, but it's going to work for you. So we're going to talk a lot about this week. This is going to be probably what I'm focusing on the majority of the week. Yep. So there you go. What do we got to update? Okay, and there we go. And so that actually is going to tie into our flagship project for the week. So your job, whether you whether you decide to do it or not, if you decide to do it or not, is the FramePack Video Gen Week. So we're going to get it installed. We're going to generate smooth, long videos. Your goal this week is to make 4-second video, a 10-second video, and a 15-second video. Feel free to stretch it out. See if you can get a 30-second video. We got Frozen just popped in here. Yo, Frozen, what's up? Welcome. Nigel back here, or nine layer, had said 2 minutes is ambitious. How was the continuity? It's good. So the continuity, I have had, he's asking about with FramePack, can you really do it in 2 minutes? When he talks about continuity, with some of this other software used, like Wand 2.1 and stuff like this, or especially LTX was notorious for this. You'd start with a video and it would start to animate it, but then all of a sudden it jumps or it does something weird. So FramePack is smooth, like it's smooth. It's incredible. It's amazing. I haven't done a ton of work with it because I've just been it's been vacation and trying to just kind of get it out for you guys to play with. But again, like that, I mean, that's a smooth thing there. That followed my prompt. She closed her eyes, she turned, and gives her a I don't know what it is with me and kissing Ninja Turtles, but it's good. It's really good. Now, I've had other ones that I've tried to make, and it just it's not the perfect software. So Wand 2.1 actually will still get better. Wand 2.1 will still get better animations. Wand 2.1 is still the best. What is it? I got another Ninja Turtle one over here that I did in 1.2.1. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. All right. Oh no, this is a cake thing. Hold on. I think it's this one. Okay, so trigger warning on this this next thing. So this was with Wand 2.1. I threw that in the still image, and then it went into. Now I ran the same thing with the exact same prompt in FramePack, and it was lame. It was just like she barely kind of. So Wand 2.1 still getting the better image, but you're not going to get this with 6 gigabytes of VRAM. You're not going to get this with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. This is going to be an intensive sort of thing. I'll get that off there so you don't have to keep staring at that. So is FramePack perfect? No, it's not. But it's incredible because all of a sudden you can do stuff that you were not able to do before. And it is smooth. I haven't seen jumps. Oh, it does this other thing. What was it? You'll see up here these frames. It actually starts at the end, which is kind of weird. So like you'll see the end, it generates the last 2 seconds of video and then it goes to the back end. The reason it's doing that is, remember, we're setting boundaries. We're going to say like this, no matter what size, no matter how long, this is the framework that we're using. And so it takes it and it says, this is the endpoint. So it creates the endpoint and then it backfills everything up to that point. So it is kind of weird watching it, because you'll be sitting there thinking, what is it doing? And then it's not till the end that it actually all comes together. And you can actually watch it diffuse while you're building, which is kind of cool. So, but Wand 2.1 still is going to be your radical motion. I will say I have tested. It is not. There is a not safe for work ability with this. So if you want to do like girl removing her shirt, it will do that. Okay, which, you know, that whatever, every person to their own thing. But just saying that I like the technicalities of knowing what things can do, what they can't. This is a fully open model. Okay, so have fun with this however you want to have fun with that. I guess I feel like I'm beating the horse and, you know, I'm beating the dead horse here, but that's the software of the week. So we are going to work at that. I'll sit here, see if you guys got any really quick questions, and I think I'm going to go ahead and beg out for the rest of the day. We'll have live Q&A on Wednesday around, you know, 1 to 2, maybe 3. I think last week I didn't get till 3. On Wednesday, you know, and then we can actually talk about whatever you want, see how you're doing with your FramePack stuff. If you guys got project ideas, you know, hit me up. I'd love to hear them. Would love to see what you're working on. Love to help you out. If you're having issues with your installation, getting your system up, you know, my time is available. I usually help out one person a week, you know, in depth, but you can also hire my time. I'm happy to get in on your computer and just kind of get stuff working for you, and of course explain it to you along the way. I think I'm going to actually reset my Windows machine. I got into some system pollution and I've been having issues. One thing is, and that actually kind of ties into it, is Triton is something that we've been working and getting it installed to our system, and that can actually end up polluting your system a bit too. So there is a ability to clear your Triton cache. You might want to talk to ChatGPT about that if you're having problems. I'll read this comment here in a second. So you can clear out your Triton cache. That might actually was having some problems with stuff. I cleared my Triton cache. It worked. So I think I'm going to work though on doing a full reinstall on my machine. Might as well. Okay, really quickly. Deepak says, "Hey buddy, I've doubts. I've done all installation, just now showing localhost for web UI and why." Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Deepak, come hit me up over on the Discord and show me what you're getting. I will say, I'm going to put it in the comments here. The app comes out and the local host it gives is 0.0.0.1 with the sub port of 7860. So of course you need to change that to 127.0.01. And I believe the reason it does the zeros is because that's sort of a it has to do with sharing over network and stuff like that, but we don't need to share it over network. We just want to do it locally. So make sure that you change that to a 127.0.0.1. Okay, any other questions here before we go? My baseball team, the Orioles, got demolished yesterday. So, you can ask me anything, but kind of my heart's hurting today. All right, I think we'll let her go there. You guys have a good day. I appreciate everyone for popping in and taking part in the live stream. You guys are great. I don't know. I feel like I want to say something else to you, but I just got nothing else to say. So, God bless you. enjoy the holidays. We'll chat you and be keeping your eye up on the flagship and stuff popping up. I think it's going to be a very busy week for content. So stay good, and we will catch you on the other side. Yo.